Hey YouTube, Kier Twig here, bringing you guys my Igknight deck profile for the end of August 2015. This is a really neat deck based solely around destroying other Igknight cards to search for more and then build up your extra decks. You could pendulum summon them all back to get off some pretty big plays. So we'll go ahead and go through the deck profile. Promised this deck profile to you guys for a while now. Finally got around to finishing the deck. So let's go ahead and get started. I run 3 Igknight Templar. Like all the Igknight monsters, all the vanilla pendulum ones at least, they all share the same pendulum ability, and they also have no monster effects. And their ability is if you have an Igknight card in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy both cards in the pendulum zone, and if you do, add 1 fire warrior type monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So basically it allows you to search out for another Igknight monster, and the main play of the deck is to build up the extra deck. Make sure you have 2 scales. The scales for the Igknight monsters are 2 to 7. And then after you have a good amount in the extra deck, pendulum summon them all back, and then either synchro summon with the tuner that you use, or exceed summon with the same levels. It all varies. So you want to max out the Igknights just so you can draw them, use them, because you don't really minus yourself after you destroy them because you'll get them back onto the field with the pendulum summoning. So you run 3 of each. So 3 Templar, he's the level 4, scale of 7. 3 Paladin, he is also the other level 4, but he's the scale of 2. And I also run 3 Crusader, he's the level 3, scale of 2. They all share the same effects, so there's no reason for me to repeat the effects of what they do. Also 3 Igknight Squire, he's the scale of 7, level 3. 3 Igknight Margrave, he is the only level 5 with a scale of 7. And we also run 3 Gallant, he is the level 6 with the scale of 2. So making it so all of the Igknight monsters are able to be pendulum summoned with themselves. You just want to make sure that you search out a scale of 2 or 7, so you're left with those 2 at the end. And make sure that those scales are set properly, because if you don't have those scales, you're going to minus yourself all out and not be able to get any of the monsters you destroyed back. And I also run 3 Royal Magical Library. I use this card basically for draw power. All these Ignites are spell cards when you activate them in the pendulum zone, so you can build up Magical Library and use its draw effect like that. And it's very easy to overlay with this card afterwards, so you don't end up losing it. Like I said, it's just there for draw power. After so many times of going through the pendulum cards, you'll build up a good amount of counters to use and draw, so it's a good card to abuse with all your Ignites. And I also run 2 Summoner Arts. Basically run this card just so I can get out the Royal Magical Library quicker. You have plenty of spell cards in the deck to use with Summoner Monk, so that's not a worry there. And just another rank 4 play, which is one of your main plays of this deck. There are other versions of the Igknight deck that can be made, but this is just one of the many that I'm going to give to you guys. There's also the Blaze Man deck, which you can sure to be waiting for as soon as I get more for that deck. It's also another fun version. But moving on, I also run 1 Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. He is the tuner you use in the deck. His effect is once per turn, if you have a card in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add 1 card from your deck to your hand with the same name as that card. So he's an Igknight search card, and you can always special summon him back because the Igknight cards do not have any restrictions for pendulum summoning, so like the Cliff Orts do, so you can easily get him back. The only thing about him is you can only use him for exceeds and synchro summons for Draco Slayer monsters, but we'll get to that later. And I also run 1 Rescue Hamster. This card's good just for being able to get multiple copies of normal monsters from the deck that are pendulum monsters. So basically, if I have 1 scale in my extra deck, I can use pretty much the same rescue ability to get 2 more to the field. It's a very good search, mills out the deck some more, so it's a great card to use. I might even bump it up to 2 if I can find room for it. And 1 Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. I run this because if this card's in the graveyard, you can return 1 face-up card you control to the hand to special summon this card from your graveyard. If you do, take 400 damage. Very easy with both your pendulum scales, just to bounce 1 back, to special him. Just, more needed things for the Exceed summon. And that is it for the monsters. We'll move on to spells. I run 3 Reinforcements of the Army and 3 Summoner Arts. These cards are basically your searches for pretty much all the Ignite monsters in the deck. Level 4 or lower is covered, and level 5 or higher is covered. So you have all your search options with these cards. You can, if you have Royal Magical Library on the field, here are your spell cards to use, and then you're just, pretty much getting access to more spell cards with these searches. So adds on the counters to that. And like I said, you have access to pretty much all the Ignite monsters in the deck. And I also run 3 Upstart Goblin. The Upstarts are just, once again, to abuse the counter effect, deck thinning. The life point gain's not too big of a concern with your opponent, basically because heavy hits with your monsters is what you're going to be relying on. Plus, I also run 3 MST, just because you don't want anything to screw up your pendulum plays like Bottomless, Torrential for the turn. A lot of this deck is just going off of that big push you can make with those monsters, so you want to be sure you're clear for action. And I also run 1 Regeki and 1 Foolish Burial. The Foolish Burial is for Zephyros. You can get him easily into the graveyard, and you don't want to end up having to draw him. So if you get Foolish quick enough, ditch Zephyros. You don't have to worry about him later on. No traps in the deck. It's a 40-card deck. You're completely relying on the pendulum summons, get big monsters out, sit on them, and not have to worry about anything else. So we'll move on now to the extra deck. I run 1 Igniter Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. He is the synchro monster that you'll go for with your Draco Slayer Pendulum. Once per turn, you can target 1 pendulum monster on the field or in 1 card in the pendulum zone, destroy it, and if you do, shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck, and once per turn you can special summon 1 Draco Slayer monster from your deck in defense position, but it cannot be used as a synchro summon for this summon. So the main effect is the first one that I use. This is, like I said, the synchro monster you'll go for using your Draco Slayer monster. If I bump it up to 2, like I said, my biggest concern is what I want to run at 2. It's a fight between Rescue Hamster and Draco Slayer, which I find both very useful in the deck. But if I wanted to abuse the plays, I'd probably either take out the Zephyros and add in the second Hamster, or take out both the Zephyros and the Foolish Burial and run 2 Hamsters and 2 Draco Slayers. But my plays, are shifting all over the place, so anything's bound to change. And I also run 1 number 86 Heroic Challenger. Basically, this card gains effects on how many Exceed materials he has, so depending on how big you go with your play, if you can get out enough of the Exceed materials, you can sit on number 86, because after he gets so many materials, he's pretty much indestructible, which is pretty cool if you can get all your level 4s out quick enough. Plus, I also run 1 Excalibur. All of the Ignites are warrior monsters, so very easy to get him and number 86 out. 1 Leviair for the level 3 ones you run, same for Alucard. 1 number 82 Heartland Draco, and I also run 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Exciton Knight, 1 Dark Rebellion, 1 101, 1 Castel, 1 Deltaros, 1 Volcasaurus, 1 Taras for the 3 level 5s that I run, and 1 Photon Strike Bouncer for the level 6s that I run. So yeah, that is it for the deck profile. Like I said, there's a lot of different versions that you can run of this deck. I also plan on making a Blazeman version that uses Polymerization and Nova Master for you guys, so look forward to that one as well. But that's it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.